Hello, hello. This is Red Paladin 44. I am going to be going over a commander deck. I'm going to try and just start this and just run it once a week. Uh, I have built a bunch of commander decks, and what I want to try and do is I would really like to showcase, I guess you could say, fun decks. So, specifically, decks that aren't designed to win on turn one, decks that are not designed to steamroll opponents, decks that are designed to essentially showcase or have fun at the table, maybe cause a little bit of drama, really incite politics, or just show off a bunch of pretty cards. Because I genuinely feel, and I know that a lot of people have, they've tussled with me on this opinion a little bit, but I genuinely feel that Commander is the format where there should be fun had at the table. And there's a lot of guys who disagree with me. There's a lot of people who are like, no, 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 we're here to win. And it's always that guy. We know who that guy is at the LGS. We know who they are. We know what they think like. It's I need to win. I need to have 70 points of interaction during a turn. I need to take a 25-minute turn. I'm playing solitaire, all while blowing you up, and you get zero interaction, you get zero fun. You don't even get to draw 15 cards deep until those plays happen. And I have heard the excuses like, "Oh no, this the deck it wasn't built like it wasn't meant to do this. It wasn't you built the deck. It's like going to Subway and complaining about the sandwich. Like, you built the sandwich. You know what I'm saying? So, so while we're talking about these fun decks, I'm just going to be going over the cards I threw into it, which basically were cards I had laying around. I will never use these cards. These cards are going to a good cause, which is one of my friend's daughters, who she comes and plays with him uh, weekly. I think we play Wednesday and Friday, so bi-weekly, really. I guess however you want to say bi-weekly. We play twice a week, uh, and she runs only this white-green, this Selesnya cat deck. So what I'm gonna try and do is, I I said, hey, I'm gonna build you a deck, and this is what I chose. She likes cute, fluffy stuff, so I went cute, fluffy in a different way. So I chose Choco, Seeker of Paradise. Um, Let me bring them up here. Uh, or her, they, I don't know what Choco is. It's a bird. It's a bird thems. So, this is our commander. Whenever one or more birds you control attack, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may put one of those cards into your hand. Then, any number of land cards from among those go straight into the battlefield. Tapped, and the rest of the cards that you did not choose from the one and that those were not lands, they go into your graveyard. So you're going to have a lot of stuff in the graveyard, but you're also going to have a lot of lands consistently, and you're going to get essentially free card draw. You're going to get a bonus card every time you attack. This deck wants to attack a lot, so I put a majority of creatures. Obviously, a lot of those creatures are going to be birds, or something that makes birds, or, uh, you know, token creators or copiers or something like that. So she likes to go she likes to go very wide with her. Like, she has a cat deck. She goes super wide, and then she's I gave her some upgrades for the deck where she goes crazy tall as well. So not only are those cats swinging for, like, just one anymore, it's like 8 cats that are all either 4/4 or bigger. So they're just enormous cats. Anyways, we'll get into this deck. Choco, that's our commander. I threw a planeswalker in there, Vivian Reed, just because there's so many creatures in this deck. So, we all know what Vivian Reed does. Reveal a creature, a land, which you're probably not going to be choosing a land, from the 4 top cards of your library. Put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom. So you have a good way to filter out cards that you want or need. And then she can also destroy things, just like green is wont to do, artifacts, enchantments, and creatures. Um, So Vivian's a great choice for this deck. And again, she's super cheap. I want to reiterate, these are insanely budget commander decks. This deck is $88 total. And I think that this is with like on Moxfield, it's showing you like different like what's it called? Like full art and stuff like that. It may not be the cheapest version of the card. So cuz when I put this deck into TCG Player on the little app, it spit out like $49. So I don't know where they're getting $88 from. It doesn't matter. Point is, this is an extreme budget commander deck that will feel fun. So Vivian Reed, and then we're gonna get started on our creatures. Got Ambrosia Whiteheart. The new Final Fantasy set obviously is full of a bunch of birds. So Ambrosia is going to pop stuff back into your hand. There's a lot of ETB triggers here, a lot of enter the battlefield. So Ambrosia, and it's a bird. Boom. Ancestor Dragon. This one I was not going to throw in at first, but then I remember that, and there's another thing is that you when I'm building for someone else, I think about things that they like to do. For instance, when I built a deck for my friend, it looked like he loved big commanders that makes big creatures. So he would run a mono red Lathless deck. And if you know Lathless, you know she's going to make a bunch of dragons just by playing dragons, and you're going to flood your board with dragons. So what I did for him was I made him an Arixmethes deck, which is all about leviathans and sea creatures. And the Arixmethes, when you play it, like when you cast it from the command zone, it turns into a land. It does not turn into a creature, and it taps for a green and a blue. So when you're playing Simic, and you're playing your commander on turn 4, you go into turn 5 with 6 mana, probably have a 7th from hand. You're already playing 7 mana creatures. And that deck is chock full of 7 mana creatures and land grab. And it's really fun. I saw him really go crazy with all these creatures on the board. So many grab. And it was hard for us to keep up. So, thinking about her, she loves life gain. So, when I saw that this has gain life for each attacking creature, it made a lot of sense. You want to attack with Choco and all your birds. Your Ancestor Dragon's just going to be floating up there, looking down, going like, yes, that's very good, little ones. Attack more, and give you more life, right? So that's what he does. Bartz and Boko. I had 2 copies of this, so why not give her one? Affinity for birds, so this will probably cost 2 when it enters. All other birds, each other bird you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. It's a really fun way, like instead of having a sorcery that does this or an instant, it's really fun to have a body built into a damage dealing package. Clifftop Lookout, just gonna go get you land. So what I'm hoping to do is, I would love to see her deck grab so much land that she literally has like turn 5, 10 lands, and all she's drawing is creatures. That's what I would love to see. Clinquant Sky Mage, it's a bird, it flies, and then whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 on this creature. I can imagine that this thing is going to be huge. Choco says you look at that many cards, you don't draw. So when you have Clinquant, it's not going to trigger off the Choco, but that's okay. There's other ways to draw in here. Combat Professor from Strixhaven. Beginning of combat your turn, target creature gets +1/+0, gains vigilance. You want to be attacking, so of course we throw it in. Coveted Peacock. Whenever it attacks, you can goad a target creature defending player controls. In this deck, there's not a lot of big creatures, and there won't be for a while at least, until you try and build up your board. But this helps you just, if there's a threat on the other side of the field, you are able to keep it from attacking you, essentially. And it's just until your next turn, but it's really nice to do that. Dragonlord Dramoka, I broke down my commander deck from Tarkir because I just didn't like the way that it played. It was a little boring. So I threw this in here, and obviously with Choco, we are white, green, blue, so we have access to white, green. This can't be countered. Also, flying lifelink. And opponents can't cast spells during your turn. So despite the fact that this is not a bird, this provides a lot of defense when you are playing your turn. No one's allowed to interact with you. Eagles of the North from Lord of the Rings. When it enters, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain first strike till end of turn. So this is a really fun card when you have a bunch of birds, and if you don't have any land like plains, you can just discard this, go get a plains card. So even more deck thinning. We got Frost Trickster, Bird Wizard for another from Strixhaven. You're tapping and stunning a creature, which is wonderful. I threw Galta in here. I thought it would just be a lot of fun. Just I mean, technically, this is where birds come from. It's from dinosaurs, so why not put Galta in here? So it's just it's just a flightless bird, just like Choco. Choco's also a flightless bird. Gilded Goose, making food tokens. We're creating a lot of food tokens if you want to, at least once a turn. And you're adding mana if you want to sacrifice food. But again, it's life gain. She loves life gain. Goldforge Thopteryx. There's a lot of legendary permanents in this deck, as there is usually in most commander decks I've seen. So giving them Ward 2 is just good. Graz. Okay. My explanation for Graz is that you're gonna have a bunch of birds, right? So a bunch of bird tokens equals Graz turns them all into juggernauts. So if they're more than likely 2/2 birds, which that's what is going to be made in this deck, you are then going to create a bunch of 5/3 juggernaut birds who can't be blocked by walls. And they must attack each turn if able. What does Choco want you to do? Attack each turn. So there you go. And then you're going to draw that many cards, and you're going to put all those land down, thin out your deck. You're going to have crazy turns with this thing. After Graz, we have Guardian Gladewalker. It's a cheap shapeshifter that counts as a bird. So when it attacks, you trigger your Choco. Halia, she's going to put 1/1s on things. And just like Selesnyas want to do, she's going to put more 1/1s. And then whenever those 1/1 counter holding birds deal damage, you get to draw a card. So there you go. Grove Strider. This is just a big boy, but I saw the synergy. Choco's going to be putting land every turn. You're going to be putting land every turn. This power and toughness is equal to the number of lands you control. Not just basic land, but all the lands you control. So this thing's going to get huge fast. And then Jackdaw Savior. This guy, since we're also discarding stuff, he's going to go and grab all your dead birds in the graveyard, and he's going to return it. As long as the mana is lesser than whatever creature you had die with flying. So there you go. A lot of recursion too with Jackdaw. Juniper Order Ranger. He's a white-green. He puts counters. There you go. You just want big counters. Castrol. I remember this guy. I only had one of these, but I decided to give it because I'm never gonna play this card ever. But whenever a bird deals damage to a player, you get to choose one. Put a bird creature card from your hand or graveyard on the battlefield with a finality counter, so more recursion. Put a 1/1 on each bird you control or draw a card. I would probably get the recursion and the 1/1s because you're more than likely drawing a bunch of cards. Kinku Artificer, when it enters, is a bird. You put 3 1/1s on something or on an artifact, it becomes a 0/0 homunculus with flying. Flying artifacts that are punching people in the face are lovely. Landreval, he's a legendary bird from Lord of the Rings. Whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, target attacking creature without flying gains flying till end of turn. I mean, there's some non-flying creatures here, but Landreval is going to pick them up and also carry them over, much like Frodo and Sam. I threw an Eldrazi in here. I just wanted to see what would happen, you know? But when you cast it, you exile top 4 of an opponent's library. You can put any number of land cards that player owns from exile onto the battlefield under your control. So you steal some lands. It's not a big deal. Orin Frostfang. I didn't think this was going to be such an expensive card, but attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. We're always attacking. Whenever a creature you control deals combat to a player, draw a card. I put Omega in here because stunning people with a lot of stunned counters sounds like a lot of fun, and you immediately become such a huge problem with Omega. For each opponent, tap up to one target non-land permanent. Put X stun counters on it, where X is the number of non-basic lands you control. There's a lot of non-basic lands in this deck, by the way. And there's 17 to be exact, by the way. So can you imagine 17 stun counters? Ugh, disgusting. The Pileated Provisioner, Pileated, however you want to say it. When it enters, put a 1/1 counter on a creature you control without flying. Boom. Princess Sarah, I'm giving her this art simply because I had 2 of them, and I'm never going to play Princess Sarah. I don't care who she is. You can play 2 additional lands on each of your turns. Why not, right? Princess Sarah's dope. Protector of the Wastes, which is another, again, from the Tarkir broken down commander that I had. I had 2 of them, by the way. When this creature enters, you exile 2 target artifacts and/or enchantments controlled by different players, and then when you pay monstrosity, you can do it again. So removal, wonderful removal. There's a lot of like dual things that all these cards do. Not only are most of them birds, but they also just provide removal as they enter, which is disgusting. So you get a body and removal, and I love that. You got your Great Worm. Whenever a creature deals combat damage, put that many 1/1 counters on it, and then you can cast this from the graveyard by removing 6 counters from among creatures you control, and then pay 6 again. This thing's gross. I've had it used on me in Arena a lot of times. I'm never going to play a card like this. I just don't play green as much, so I threw it in here. Kina Q Gourmet, I hope I'm saying that right. But if you make a token, you just make a frog also. And then you can sack a frog, put a 1/1 on Kina. I think it's fun just to have a bunch of frogs and birds punching you in the face. That's why I put them in there. Kistis Trep, again, have no idea how to say that, but you can cast an instant or sorcery from a graveyard, and mana of any type can be sent to cast it. Is from a graveyard. So if your opponent played like some nasty instant or sorcery, it's from a graveyard, so you get to just take that. And if it would be put back into the graveyard, you get to exile it instead. Of the things that you can play, there's a lot of just land grab essentially. So what I did, the reason why I put Kistis in here is because other people play strong things. So you have access to blue, why not be able to steal things, right? It's more fun. It kind of, when I was building it, I was thinking of birds a lot, and I really like magpies because they love shiny things. So like you see something shiny in somebody's graveyard and you're like, oh, I gotta go get it. I'm a little magpie. So Samwise, whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, you make a food. There's so many creatures in this deck, and you can sack 3 foods, return a historic card from your graveyard to your hand. Artifacts, legendary sagas, more recursion. In a card that looks really, really sweet and innocent, you get a bunch of stuff back from your graveyard. Sausage Chocobo, I had to throw it. I had to. It's just like the quintessential Chocobo card. I don't have Traveling Chocobo. That would be crazy. I probably wouldn't put it in here just because I might just turn around and sell it. But Sarah Farron, legendary creatures cost 2 less. When you flip Sarah, or when you transform her, you have the same thing. Legendary creature spell, the first one each turn costs 2 less to catch. But all legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. That's crazy. That's absolutely disgusting. So having all of these legendary creatures having +2/+2, you're constantly swinging in. I mean, you're doing work. Shalai, Voice of Plenty. You, Planeswalkers, and other creatures you control have hexproof. It's gross. It's Shalai. We love her. And then you can put 1/1 counter on each creature you control for 6. Again, It feels broken. Like there's it feels, but again it feels fun. It's like this angel comes down, bestows all these gifts. I love the way it feels. So you got Strike Force. It's just a good, fun bird with flying double strike vigilance. And then when you power it up, it will deal so much damage. Snowvilliers, you're going to have a bunch of creatures. So Snow made a lot of sense because there's just so many people or so many creatures you're going to be attacking with. So who knows how powerful he can get. Social Climber, whenever another creature enters, you gain life. There's more life gain for her. Spara's Adjudicators. This one's interesting, and I have literally one copy laying around. But when they enter, target creature an opponent controls can't attack or block until your next turn. So if there's someone you're like trying to finish off one, or somebody only has one blocker, and you really need that Choco like ability to really kick off, and you don't want your Choco to die, you throw down Sparas. That creature can't block, and then also subsequently can't attack you either. You need to get that trigger off, and then you can exile it from your hand. Target land gains tap, add green, white, blue until Spars is cast from exile. So that's really cool when you don't have like the land that you want, but I don't think that'll ever really come into play. Speakeasy Server, just a bird citizen. When he enters, you gain a life for each other creature you control, probably gaining 5 to 10 life. Spore Frog, if you're ever in danger, you sack your Spore Frog. He will become a little gas fart, and he will save you. He will prevent all the damage coming into you. Chocomog Summon, Funbird Summon from Final Fantasy, and other creatures get +1/+0, and it's a bird, and it gets to attack. Fat Chocobo, obese, morbidly obese Chocobo. I mean, this man's, look at that, that's insane. But you create a bird creature token, and then you also, creatures you control gain trample on the subsequent turns. So that's a fun one. Tatyova, I think she's just something you throw in whenever you have Simic in Commander. It just feels like you should, because gaining life and drawing a card is wild. Tishar, I didn't know I had this card. Random. But whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. More recursion, more things coming back to life. I didn't think it would have so much. Speaking of magpies, throw in Thieving Magpie. When it deals damage, you draw a card. So just more card advantage. And then Trigon Predator, which is honestly super powerful because it's flying, hard to block. When it deals combat damage, you can destroy target artifact or enchantment that player controls. That is crazy to me. Constantly being able to destroy potential combo pieces, stuff like that. I think it's really fun. Let me see what else here. So, those are all the creatures, and I know it's a lot of creatures, but I just think it's way more fun to throw down a creature every turn. Your board will get big so fast. And then these are all honestly, these are all really thick creatures. They're really big boys, and then a lot of them just come back to life for free. So sorceries, Chocobo Kick, going along with the bird theme, just put it in there. Return a land you control as a kicker, and then target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. If it was kicked, deals twice that much damage. You're always going to kick this, especially in Commander. You got big creatures. I mean, you're probably dealing 24 with Galta. So, moving on, we start with one of the land grabs, Commune with Beavers. You can get a land, artifact, or creature. Either one of those. Gashel Greens, or Gissel Greens, I guess. I say Gashel, but Gissel Greens is you create a bird creature, and then you can flash this back and make another bird creature. Kodama, go get your lands. Newfound Adventure, go get your lands. Reunion of the House. This is a crazy card. I thought it would be more expensive, but it's not. But you return any number of target creature cards with a total power of 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Insane recursion here, and it is just so freaking powerful. You can't target Galta with this, unfortunately, but there's so many people you can get. Like, here's one creature. Let's say you go only the ones and twos, so you can get up to 5 creatures if you get 2. You can get up to 10 creatures if you get 1 power. I mean, it's crazy. You can get specific combo pieces for cycling more cards, or not cycling, but more recursion, so it's wild. Sammy's Curiosity, gain 2 life, create a lander. Go get more lands. Scout for Survivors, another recursion card. Go get 3 creatures with mana value 3 or less total from your graveyard back to the battlefield, and they get 1/1 counters. Power creep is crazy. Sky Shroud Claim, go get more forest cards. Splash Portal. This one's really fun because you can exile target creature you control, then return it. There are so many crazy things you can do with this, especially like if you want to protect something from dying. Play this, pop it off the field, and then it re-enters. It's a new creature essentially. So whatever was targeting it fizzles. But if that creature is a bird, you also get to draw a card. And then let's say the bird that you targeted was something with a really dope entry trigger, which I'm trying to find one. But I mean, there's a bunch in here. So, and it doesn't even matter. It doesn't have to be a bird. It can be anything you want as long as it's entering. Like, I mean, there's Bart's and Boko right there. When it enters, each other bird you control deals damage. So you can just deal damage, bounce, deal damage. That's a crazy synergy there. We have Split Up. Since you're always attacking, boom, destroy all untapped creatures after your attack phase or after your combat step. So Split Up is a wonderful clear the board, except for my board. What do they call it? Asymmetrical board clears. So Crystal's Chosen, make a bunch of heroes, then put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. More 1/1s, more happiness, I guess, for the person playing this. Travel the overworld. I put so many towns in this deck. I think it's gonna have it's only gonna cost 2, and then you get to draw 4 cards. Pretty wild. The only instant I run in this deck is Brainstorm, draw 3, and then put 2 cards back, so you can just kind of order things, and you can guarantee that your Choco trigger doesn't like ruin what you're trying to get. The only artifact we run in this deck is Chocobo Racetrack. Landfall, which insane landfall, you will create a 2/2 green bird creature token with another landfall trigger. So you having so many lands enter, if you get Chocobo Racetrack down early, you will swarm the field 100%. And then I run 17 lands. There's 1 town. Let's see how many towns we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Just in the top, 7 cards, there's already 5 towns. So by that time, you're playing that draw card for just 2 blue. But let's see, more towns. There's caves. I like the Hidden Cataract and Nursery. I think those are really fun just for getting like big things out later, or even small things and just thinning out your deck. There's gates, lands, mystery, lands, and there's another town. I think there's maybe 6 or 7 towns in the deck. But, I mean, that's the point. So, all in all, that's the deck that I designed. That's what I thought would be more fun. Do I understand that brackets are a thing? Yes, I understand brackets are a thing. Do I understand that, like, I want to win? It depends. It just depends on your play group. Depends on what you want to do. Like, some days, honestly, I like the idea of like, yeah, I want to, beat some ass in this game real quick. It'd be really fun. But more than anything, I think that when I'm playing Commander personally, it is way more fun for me to see somebody play their deck, be happy about every card they're drawing, be happy about every card they're playing, and infinite combos are boring. You have all of these like crazy interactions to where, your entire board gets wiped, or simply you're not allowed to attack, which is like that weird Teferi combo. There are just some things that are so brainless and brain dead that they've been done forever. And no shade to people who build that way. If you want to build that way, that's fine with me. If you want to win that way, that's fine with me. But it feels less like a game, and it feels more like, oh, I'm so happy for you drawing your perfect hand. I'm so happy that you dug through your deck by turn 5, that you found your win con. And then you have to explain to all of us for 10 minutes why it's a win con. And I'm sitting here just, okay, good for you. Can we play another game? Yeah, I'll play a bracket down. Okay, sure, play a bracket down. And then completely wipes the board, solitaire, all this nonsense happens yet again. Okay, I'll play. I don't have anything below bracket 4. Okay, cool. Good for you. I'm sorry that you don't know how to have fun anymore. I'm sorry that you it really feels like a lot of people lose their way. I know I'm ranting now, but it feels genuinely like a lot of people have lost their way in terms of Commander and making it so hyper competitive. Not everybody's like that, fully understand, but I think more to the point is, if you are going to play in a bracket, be honest about it. If you have infinite combos, be honest about it, because you built the deck. Remember, Subway sandwich, you built the sandwich. If you don't like it, you're the one who built it. You built the deck. If you have infinite combos, be honest about it. If you have game changers, be honest about it. It doesn't matter if you just have one game changer. If that game changer interacts with other things in your deck that then create a like one of those semi-infinite combos, then that's not the bracket you just explained to us it was. It's probably a higher bracket. But I mean, people will fight tooth and nail to argue that their deck is such and such bracket, and then proceed to steamroll you by turn 5. So, and you could also say like, oh my gosh, Christian, you're so salty about losing. I'm not. I'm salty about getting lied to. When somebody comes to our table and is like, hey, can I play with such and such deck? I'm like, sure, that's cool. What does it do? And they just have that little smile. They're like, you'll see. I don't want to see. I immediately want to say no. Oh, and I will say, last thing before I go, or before I end this video, is you are allowed to scoop. You are allowed to leave a table. You are allowed to not stick around for somebody's solitary game, in which they will tell you, and then I'll keep doing this for 100,000 times, and then eventually I'll be able to dig through my deck, and eventually I'll get to my win con, and eventually I'll play it, and then eventually, okay, cool, bye. We don't want to play with you. And then they have the gall to say, oh, well, that's kind of rude. Oh, it's kind of rude to lie about what your deck was and then proceed to just go ahead and do something that's a full bracket higher than what you described it as. That's kind of rude to me. I was very honest with what my deck did. My girlfriend was very honest with what her deck did. She was like, I just play a lot of mercenaries. And I was like, oh, I just play a lot of rats. That's all we did. And this guy pops off with millions and millions of mana and drawing through his deck, and then getting like 2 cards he puts down, and he goes, I win. Cool. With that being said, though, this was Choco's Secret Paradise. Super budget. Again, I think Moxfield is confused and was like, oh, we're going to make this $88. But all the cards you can find on TCG Player, the total was $49. Not a big deal. And even then, I look and I see it. I see like budget Commander decks. I'm seeing $100. For me, I've only been playing Magic for like a year. When I see $100, that's a lot to me, because Commander decks are usually 50. You know, that's one deck. So at $100, you better have some quality ass cards in there. I don't see how this is budget at all. For me, building a deck that is sub 50 or even sub 60, that's on par with budget, because my budget is I'm gonna buy a commander deck today. So, anyways, um, I hope people enjoyed this. I hope that this kind of like maybe is a breath of fresh air. This is a little bit of something that, if people are interested in seeing more genuine budget decks, I'll try to showcase what I have, because there's just a lot of synergy you can find without having to go and look up what is the most optimal card for my deck. You don't need to do that. You can find so many more budget things. EDH Rec is fun to a point, to where it's like, as soon as you start picking 3 or 4 cards that are just so synergizing with your deck, it becomes unfun, to the point that, like, if you just tamped it down, if you just brought that power level down, your table can have more and more fun. If your table's happy with turn 1 wins, with 25-minute turns, more power to you. But I build decks for fun. I build decks for laughs. I build decks for people to enjoy an hour-long game with each other, and then eventually you're like politicking, and then eventually you're like, uh-oh, here comes the big-ass swing, and then you boom, and you're dead. And it was fun. And you didn't have to win. You know what? It was the journey. Don't forget about the journey. Anyways, that was me. I'm Red Paladin. I get to do the spiel. I get to do the shtick that all the YouTubers do. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye.